Good morning. Happy Monday. We're going to talk about deductibles. We're going to talk about what your local contractors that I see aren't telling you. So let me just start out by saying, I do not mean to dishonor anyone. However, it is super important that you're educated. And one of the reasons that I actually started my own company was because I was so uncomfortable with what was not being followed appropriately, morally, the rules that were being miscommunicated to manipulate the situation, i.e. contractors that eat your deductibles is what we call it. They're really good at spinning the situation to make you think they're doing you a favor, which then gets them the job, and you think they're the greatest thing ever, so you refer them, when actually it's quite the opposite. So let me just tell you that effective September of 2019, in the state of Texas, it is a law that a contractor must take your deductible in order to complete the work, if they're going to request recoverable depreciation. So that's the money paid out on the back end. The insurance company keeps a little bit of money to make sure that you actually do the repairs rather than taking off on a trip to the Bahamas. So when a contractor tells you they're going to eat their deductible, there's a few things that are happening. Number one, you're criminally liable. So just FYI, I understand not wanting to pay your deductible, because prior to getting into this industry, I didn't want to pay mine either. I mean, who wants to pay their deductible? But after being in the industry and seeing what happens when you don't, I'm going to share a little bit to give you some insight, and maybe you'll start to look at some things. So what person do you know in business that's just going to voluntarily, out of the goodness of their heart, give up a bunch of money? None. I don't care how much you love Jesus, okay? Obviously, there's times to be generous, but in the transaction of a roofing transaction, number one, it's illegal, okay? Number two, if they are getting recoverable depreciation from your insurance company, they are committing fraud, okay? They're committing fraud, which means they're lying. They're risking their business. So you might think, oh, they're just eating my deductible. But if you take a step back and look at a contractor who's willing to risk their business to eat your deductible, you have to start to think, well, what else are they willing to do? So I'm going to tell you what they're willing to do. They're going to cut corners, okay? There's lots of things in the roofing system, lots of components that you probably would have no idea that your insurance company has paid for, that they're not going to put on your roof. One thing that I see often is reusing pipe jacks in all the ventilation. It matters. Corners are cut 10 times out of 10. So if you're paying the deductible of $1,000 and you could possibly get a BMW for $1,000, if they're eating your deductible, you're probably going to get like a little Ford Festiva that's 12 years old. Okay. And I mean, I don't mean any disrespect to people that drive Ford Festivas, but I just would like to spark a little critical thinking with contractors that eat deductibles. I know personally in my community, the contractors that are widely recommended are the ones that eat deductibles. And it's really hard for me to watch people refer them left and right, and they have no idea. And I keep my mouth shut about what I know about said contractors, because I'm trying to be somebody that doesn't get caught up in that. But what I'm tired of seeing is contractors being misled and lied to. And so I'm here to tell you, if your contractor is eating your deductible, I would encourage you to do a little due diligence on them. Do some Google research on their business. Look up any lawsuits. Look up judgments. Do a little research. I think you would be really surprised that the people who are walking around pretending that they're doing everyone favors are actually causing a lot of problems for people. So deductible 101, it's against the law. Roofers will cut corners if they eat your deductible, which means you will have components of your roofing system that they're just not what they should be or what they could be. And number three, you could be held criminally liable, you and the roofing contractor. So I would encourage you to do a little due diligence. And I know it's not what everyone wants to hear, Who wants to pay a deductible? Nobody. But if it guarantees that you get a 100% quality roofing system and you wouldn't have anything to worry about, don't you think it's worth it? I mean, we enter into these insurance policy agreements knowing what our part is, but for some reason, you know, people they start getting into the claim and they see the money and they're like, oh, they want to profit. I get it, but it's not the time to make money. If you want to make money, we can show you some other ways. So, deductible 101. If a contractor is willing to not make you pay your deductible, you should run. It's a major red flag. Get online, put in Google, TDI, can a contractor waive my deductible in the state of Texas? And do a little reading. Happy Monday.